The main beneficiary of yesterday's postponement, Jonathan Rea, would have taken a wet Indonesian round. Lowe's suffering further damage to his injured shoulder in what was a startling FP3 crash, and Leon Haslam failing in his bid to return following surgery between late season flyaways.
Yeah, I had a quick chat with Lowe's yesterday just about that injury, and shame for him, as he said, it seems that almost every time he's fallen this season he's picked up another knock, and he's had plenty of them all the way through this year, and that tends to be the way it works. That momentum builds in a negative way, and all of these riders, they're always racing with some sort of a knock, but once you've actually got an injury that forces riders to sit out, and we've seen that for Lowe's different times this season, it really does just show how serious it can be.
Real shame for Leon Haslam in particular. We know Alex Lowe's is back with KRT for next season, and in his comments after it was announced that he wouldn't be able to continue this weekend, he was already turning his focus to next year and making sure that he's fully fit for winter testing and of course for the start of next season. For Leon Haslam, of course, it's a departure from Honda at the end of this campaign, more than likely a departure from the World SBK paddock as well, and one of the most experienced men in this category of all time. If that does turn out to be his final World SBK weekend, that would be a shame for him.
Yeah, he's going to be probably moving back to BSB on a Kawasaki, could potentially be in Endurance World Championship action as well, and that'll be interesting to see how that fits in with Kawasaki as well. Obviously Kawasaki with their Suzuka 8-hour program, that comes from the Kawasaki World SBK team. Be interesting to see if Haslam, a former rider for that team, is involved in that project in any way.
Number 15, Oliver Koenig, you just caught a glimpse of at the back of the shot, making his way around. A World Superbike debut for him this weekend, and he's made significant improvements over the course of the weekend, actually beginning to close down the back of the pack, as it were, having been a significant margin away in the very first free practice sessions. A massive step forward from Supersport 300, of course, to jump up to the premier class in the World SBK paddock, and he's managed that with aplomb.
Yeah, and I have to say Oliver's done a really good job, because he's pretty much on the same sort of pace as what we saw from Lars Gressel for most of the year. So he's jumped onto a Superbike and given a good account of himself, and we'll wait and see how the next couple of years transpire for him. Obviously racing in the 300 Championship this year full time. He has had some big bike experience in the Endurance World Championship, but we'll wait and see where he goes for next year.
Yes, only 0.6 of a second away from Tito Rabat in the Superpole session here yesterday. That's bad news for Rabat, frankly, but it does also show that Koenig is getting there or thereabouts on towards the tail of the field. 18 rider entry, so a little bit of attrition, and he could be a point scorer in his debut weekend as well. At the other end of his career is this man, Chaz Davies. It's a final weekend for him in the Superbike World Championship before retirement from the series. Go11 have already announced Philip Ertel as the man who will replace him in 2022, but a long and illustrious career as far as Chaz Davies is concerned.
Yeah, Chaz tweeted earlier in the week, 27 years since he started his racing career back in Wales, so it's been a long road for him, and I think it's easy to forget that it's not just the time you spend in World Championship action, it's the time to get to that point as well, and Davis has put in the hard yards. He's going to have earned the beer tonight for a really successful career, and what we've seen from him all the way through in World SBK is that he's one of the top riders. He's just unfortunate that his years at the top also coincided with Jonathan Rea's years at the top as well, because Chaz could easily have picked up a World Championship or two to go with his Supersport World crown.
So what are the chances of Toprak Razgatlioglu claiming the title with a race to spare? Well, you'd have to say good. A top 2 finish would do it, as I said previously, and Toprak has finished inside the top 2 in 60% of races in 2021. It is the second consecutive season that we've gone down to a last round decider. Last season, though, Jonathan Rea only needed 3 points from the final round to seal the title. This season, you fancy he needs a miracle. Yeah,
and for Rea, the miracle might come in the form of a little bit of rain in the next 15 minutes as well. We did have a few spits of rain around about 20 minutes ago here in Indonesia, so we'll wait and see if that changes at all. It did get very bright momentarily. Now it's gotten a little bit darker. The clouds